Thank you for auditing the always positive new music review show hosted by a French professor who's in a DC Airbnb, dropping off my son at college. It's been a pretty hectic month here, but I somehow have not managed to talk about the soundtrack song by Billie Eilish, What Was I Made For, off the Barbie soundtrack. So I'm going to do two things. I'm going to not do a review of Barbie, but give you some thoughts, which I think probably you haven't heard. Maybe you have. I don't know. I'm not super up on the discourse. And then I'm going to talk about what makes this wisp of a song, this soundtrack by Billie Eilish and Phineas, what makes it, I think, a perfect soundtrack song, like the perfect marriage of a musician and movie, of song and narrative. Okay? So I'm going to start with Barbie thoughts, and then when I talk about just the song, I'll change the angle. So if you want to skip ahead, get to the point where I'm just talking about the song. But I'm going to give you three thoughts about the Barbie movie. I mean, as far as a review goes, it's great. Awesome, wonderful, see it. I'm going to see it again. I totally support it. But my first point is that it's the only movie I've ever seen which successfully draws the parallel between existentialism and political action. Hey, right? You thought I was going to come out here like, feminism this, feminism that. Of course, it is one of the greatest mainstreaming efforts of really fairly deep level feminism that you could possibly have. I mean, if you've gone through grad school and the humanities, you've experienced most of the themes of this apparently kids movie. But the thing is, this movie makes it clear that prise de conscience, the arrival at consciousness, comes through quite often existentialism, through knowing that one is going to die. And that's what I think makes this such a fascinating movie philosophically. Because she doesn't just wake up one day and say, hey, why are we like this? Why is this like this? Gender this, gender that. It's, hey, someday I'm going to die. The line that I laughed at most was singing the word pink and changing it to pain, insecurity, nausea, and death. Now the fact that Lizzo, problems aside, that she's singing nausea for N is that's a little wink. To those of you who've studied existentialism, you know that Sartre's book, La Nausea, is all about how once you understand that you're going to die, once you understand the absurdity of existence, sometimes you can be nauseous. So that's why there's that direct reference. And this is what leads ultimately to her position of feminism. And that is how things often happen. People become politically engaged and politically aware when they understand, first of all, the finiteness of their own existence. I'm going to go one step further. Okay, now I'm going really far here. But in a way, because this movie was co-written, by a couple, right? Greta Gerwig and Noah Baumbach, I think we might sort of see them as a sort of new version of Sartre et de Beauvoir. So if you don't know, Sartre, who I already mentioned, is one of the primary people who pioneered and popularized existentialism, was partners with Simone de Beauvoir, who wrote The Second Sex, one of the proto-feminist books. She developed a lot of the theories that would go on to define feminism, either in relationship to her or in response to her. And they were the sort of like an intellectual power couple of equals. And what I think is funny is we could sort of see Baumbach and Gerwig as being a sort of similar pairing, except maybe with the power dynamic inverted a bit, where Sartre was the huge megastar and de Beauvoir was his partner. I'd say Gerwig is the huge megastar and Baumbach, although certainly very well accomplished, is sort of in the supporting role. I don't know. But it's just great to see a movie that mainstreams really deep feminist theory and existentialism at the same time. I should mention that it's very hot in Washington, D.C., so I apologize if you see me wiping off my forehead. I'm in this basement Airbnb. Yesterday, I saw cockroaches, centipedes, and rats. It's exciting. Drain the swamp. I don't mean that. But Rick and Morty has already done a lot of work to mainstream real existentialist theories. But yeah, again, problems aside, I think this is a much better job and a much bigger job. Second point about the movie. It's going to take me years to really understand and break down what they did with this character of Ken. Reactionary YouTubers, reactionary people see it as just a misandrist character, right? Misandrist means hatred of men. It's like misogynist, but for men. But it really isn't. What I find interesting is that Ken's primary sin is that he isn't aware of his privilege. He just isn't aware of the things that have been given to him, the power that was given to him. Like, that's his arrival at political consciousness, is when he is made aware of these privileges. So I think that's an interesting idea, that he's not inherently bad, but that once he understands what society has given him and he doesn't reject it outright, he becomes something of a villain. But he's really not evil. He's just ignorant. And the amount that this movie makes sure that if you are a man, you feel targeted, they do not let you off one bit. I swear to God, you saw the movie too, right? Everyone saw the movie. They make a direct reference to someone explaining to somebody how Stephen Malkmus is like the new Lou Reed. So like the lead singer of Pavement, like this was so like, oh, close to the bone. And like, you know, would you like to sit down and watch The Godfather with me? True story. You want some Professor Skye lore? Here's some Professor Skye lore. Oh, by the way, apparently my son met somebody at orientation who's a fan of the channel. So that's weird. It's very cool, but also like weird. Like, you're Professor Skye's kid? Yeah, he is. But for Professor Skye lore, my first date I ever went on was a blind date, a freshman in college. Didn't have much luck in high school. But we went and ate dinner, and then we went back to my apartment, and literally, this sounds like a joke from Barbie. We watched Citizen Kane with me pausing it like every 5 seconds to explain what made it so great and so interesting. Now, in my defense, this was what she actually wanted, and she liked it, and it was a good first date. We dated for a couple of years after that. What I love about it is that it's not actually inherently bad what I was doing. It's more that this movie shows that kind of knowledge and the confidence to transmit that knowledge is a result, to a certain extent, of patriarchy itself. That we are, as men, socialized to share that information, and we're privileged to obtain that information, and we are rewarded for disseminating that information. Word choice intentional. So there's nothing wrong with knowing about the cinematography of The Godfather. And there's nothing wrong with anything sharing it. The movie isn't saying that it's bad. It's more shining a spotlight about the correlation between talking to somebody about Stephen Malkmus and patriarchy. It's amazing. I was targeted and I really loved it. It's actually very funny thinking about this Ken thing, because a friend of mine, a friend who we call Good Karen, she posted how after seeing the movie that she loved it, but that she doesn't want to overthink it. And I immediately started writing this post, like, cause, she's also an academic. I'm also like, how dare you say not to overthink it? It mainstreamed existentialism and feminism. And then I realized I was kenning. Like that comment was a ken. So I just said, yeah, totally agree, exclamation point. And then we hung out and talked about it. But it's great. It's like manspreading was a term that needed to be created, and mansplaining needed to be created. But Barbie gave us something else. Mantificating? Oh shit, that's what I'm doing right now. This video is part of the problem. Damn it. Anyway, mantificating. So Barbie pointed out mantificating. Third point, a lot quicker. I'm a toy collector, right? I collect Chewbacca toys. It's true. I don't talk about it that much on the channel, but it's true. I have more Chewbacca toys than thoughts about music. This movie actually is made for toy collectors. Like, I don't collect Barbie, but I'm enough of a toy collector to truly appreciate how much love is given to the collectors. And it's finally having revenge for The 40-Year-Old Virgin, which was that movie that made fun of toy collectors while not actually doing the research to have any of the toy collecting accurate. Made me so mad. So anyways, just to say that. And it's funny because I'm Facebook friends with a fair number of toy collectors as well, and a lot of them are very right-wing because nostalgia. Toys are based on nostalgia, fascism is based on nostalgia, so there's a lot of overlap there. And a lot of them are writing like, I'd rather put Tabasco in my eyes than see Barbie. And I just like, hey, this is the only movie I've ever seen that takes toy collecting seriously. Speaking of toys, you want to know how I play with Barbies? This is just a little funny true story. So I didn't buy Barbies for my daughter because of all the reasons that this movie points out. I thought, the body image stuff, and it seemed like, non-aspirational. I wasn't a big fan of it. But someone gave her a whole bunch of them. So what I did was I created a new Barbie game. It was called Smith College. So just a a single-sex college, all-women's college, and I had all the Barbies be on the same dorm, like in the same dorm. And one of them was Tammy. She was the RA, named after my RA in college, and they like all played together. So there's a way to have your Barbies and feminism too. So I saw the movie. I saw it on the third try. It was like sold out. We were in Austria. We ended up seeing Mission Impossible. I'm tempted to do a whole video about how Mission Impossible was about Tom Cruise's struggle with the hierarchy at the Scientology, but I'm not going to do that. We finally ended up seeing it, and we're all super excited, and now it's time to talk about the song. Let's change the angle. Oh, you're here because I'm just talking about the music? That's cool. Let's get the towel out of the way. No one wants to see an old towel. Okay, so the song. It's a wisp of a song. It's 3 chords. It's C, E minor, F. Over and over again. Spoiler, a lot of Billie Eilish's songs are just 3 chords over and over again. Piano, bass, and voice, tons of restraint, a little bit of strings and harp at the end. Just a little bit. I'm in DC, so I'm talking like Biden. Just a little bit of strings at the end. Okay? Just a little bit. But what makes the song so wonderful is that it is clear that Billie Eilish saw the movie, understood it, and made a song that is truly about the movie. This is better than any of the songs from Toy Story, any other, I'm trying to think about other songs that might be in the same realm. And what makes it so great is that the brilliance of the movie and the number one complaint I had about the movie are in the song, in the title of the song. What was I made for? Bizarrely enough, Ben Shapiro, the not good YouTube person, how I describe him, he made the same point, and I don't disagree with it. Like, who is this movie made for? Like, why are you making references to Stephen Malkmus in a kid's movie, and why are you having all this kiddie stuff in an adult movie? Like, who is it really made for? And obviously it's made for everybody because it's making billions of dollars, and it's still number one like a month after being released. But actually, the fact that we don't know who the movie is made for is the strength of the movie, because the movie emphasizes that what is Barbie made for? That's the whole question of the movie. Is Barbie uplifting or down-putting? Is she feminist, anti-feminist? What is she actually? So even though Billie Eilish is singing the song and it's all about like, what was I made for and all, and it's sort of like a typical Billie Eilish sad, interesting, striving song trying to find her place in life and relationships, it's also very much about the movie and about the thing of Barbie as well. The whole thing. Who is this made for? Barbie. Who is she made for? Billie. What am I made for? Right? It's all together. And of course, it's an existential question. Billie is getting to the existential question. What was I made for? That's one of the questions of existentialism. We all know we're going to die, but why were we created? So it's this existential stuff. It's also kind of young person blues. You hit your 20s, oh, what am I supposed to be here for? It's kind of identity crisis. And then we get to lyrics. I'm just going to go through lyrics quickly because there isn't that much to go through with the song, because the song is a vibe, right? It's a vibe for that particular moment in the movie. If you haven't seen the movie, it's at the sort of down point where Barbie is asking, what is she made for? She is in the real depths of trying to understand what is her place in society and existence. I used to float, now I just fall down. Killer opening line, reflecting what happens in the movie. I used to know, but I'm not sure now. The arrival of political consciousness, the arrival of understanding of existentialism. You used to float, now you just fall down. You're being brought down. The knowledge of your own finite existence, much like me last night, it woke me up in the middle of the night and I couldn't go back to sleep unless I listened to my podcast. I couldn't do that because I had that consciousness that I was going to die, and it wakes me up almost every night, and I don't like it, but there it is. What was I made for? What was I made for? Taking a drive, I was an ideal, look so alive, turns out I'm not real. So she's singing from the position of Barbie while also singing from the position of a woman in patriarchy in 21st century, 20th, 19th, 18th, 16th, 15th, 14th, 13th, 12th, negative 15th century, okay? Living in this world, just something you paid for, what was I made for? So she's something she's paid for, so she's both a kept woman in the real world and a Barbie woman in the Barbie world. I don't know how to feel, but I want to try. I don't know how to feel, but someday I might. Someday I might. Billie Eilish, obviously, is just this great songwriter who's able to write the lines that kill you. Just kills you. She doesn't know how to feel, but someday I might. It's not empowering. It's not I will. The movie's actually not super empowering, you know? It is, but it's also very questioning. It's very destabilizing. That's what it is. Its point is it's supposed to destabilize you. It's supposed to make you question the way you see the world, and someday she might. When did it end? All the enjoyment. I'm sad again. Don't tell my boyfriend. Again, this is all of a sudden now becoming about a woman realizing that she doesn't know who she is, and Barbie doesn't know who she is. It's not what he's made for. What was I made for? Because I don't know how to feel, but I want to try. Someday I might. I think I forgot how to be happy. Something I'm not, something I can be, something I wait for, something I'm made for. So I forgot how to be happy. That is the point that Barbie had. She forgot how to be happy. So did Billie as she reaches this point of consciousness. Something I can be, something I wait for, something I'm made for. So she's trying to figure out, is she made to be happy, or is she made to be stuck in this place? And there is no answer. Someday she might. Perfect. It perfectly explains the anguish that Barbie is in that exact moment, while also discussing the place of a young woman in a relationship where she doesn't know where she is because she realizes she might not be as happy as she used to be, and all these new thoughts are confusing her. And then also a more general statement about women, sort of kept women in patriarchy, trying to understand their place and realizing they don't know how to be happy once they understand that they're not really free. Greta Gerwig, Billie Eilish, Phineas, Noah Baumbach. You know, look at all these people making great art. Isn't it great? All right, well, actually, the Airbnb people are super cool. We were supposed to leave 10 minutes ago, but I said I gotta do my video, so props to them. If you haven't smashed the like button, please do. Please subscribe. If you leave letters A, V, A anywhere on any comment on any of my videos, I will give you a heart because that means awesome video as always. And that's my little cheat code for you. Okay? Until next time, what did you think of the Barbie movie? What's up? There's the camera.